What is up, guys? I'm back with another book review. Today we will be reviewing The Achievement Habits from Bernard Roth. Why am I showing you this book on my laptop? It's because I listened to this book on Audible, and I actually didn't read the book physically. So I consume books in many different content or formats rather. I use Audible, of course I use Kindle, and then I actually have physical hard copies of books that I read. I prefer the physical hard copies the most. It's just that they really you need space for this stuff. Sometimes you can't get the book. And Audible actually really helped me to read multiple books at the same time. And it really helps with content consumption. Okay. I still get the most out of reading a book, so I'll probably still just buy this book, the physical copy of it as well. But it's something that you guys could think about when you're thinking about reading books. You're saying you don't have time, things like this. Audible is a really good way of getting that time in, right? Because you can listen to this book while you're at gym, while you're at work, while you're driving. All of the above, actually. Okay, so what is this book about, though? Okay, The Achievement Habits. So that title is a lie, a little bit. Actually, a lot. Okay, it's a lie. It's not like it's misleading. Okay, because it's not actually a habit. And then this what's his name, Bernard Roth. It's not like he substantiates this habit with facts and stuff like that. It's actually, Bernard Roth is a professor at Standford, and he teaches this course called Design Thinking. And this is what the book is actually about. It could have been called Design Thinking underscore or subtitled A Bias Towards Action. And that's what this book really is about, giving you the tools to have a bias towards action. Okay, it's not a habit, it's a series of habits that you can apply to your life. You don't have to use all of them, obviously, right? But it's trying to say, how do you have this bias towards action? How do you create this bias towards action? And he does that in a couple ways, right? Of course, there's more ways than this. This is just his take on a bias towards action. So he looks at the difference between trying and doing, right? He sees that trying is something where you don't put the actual effort to get the result that you want, versus doing, you get the outcome that you want irrespective. So he kind of takes an extreme point of when you try something like, oh, I'm going to try read a book a week, for example, and then you do it and then you only get halfway through a book and you're like, well, I tried. Okay, you did something but you didn't actually achieve what you wanted, versus doing is getting the exact outcome that you want. And he shows it by saying, well, you could have done this, you just tried and you didn't do it, you didn't execute. Why didn't you execute? Because if someone actually had a gun to your head, right, and they said, read a book a week or I'll kill you, you would have made a plan to read that book, okay? You would have said no to your friends going out, you would have read the book during work, at lunch breaks, things like that, okay? You would have figured out a way to get the outcome that you wanted. So he's saying, like, trying is this excuse people do to say, well, I tried to get this thing done and I didn't actually. But trying is like this thing that people do just to feel better about themselves, like they have done something, well, or they've tried to get the outcome and they just couldn't get it because of something out of their control, right? So he's saying, have a bias towards action by actually doing something, thinking about it in terms of, if someone has a gun to your head, would you get it done or not? And more often than not, it is that you would get it done, okay? Second thing that he introduces is this thing about reasons, okay? I was late because of X, Y, and Z, or I didn't do this because of A, B, and C, or whatever reason that you give. And he just says that those reasons are actually all bullshit, okay? Because, again, gun to your head, you would have gotten it done, right? And when I really like this perspective of gun to your head, okay? I always think about that now. It's, I've been using this. I actually watched a presentation that he's done before, and that's where he mentioned this gun to your head thing, and it's stuck with me so much, and it's really helped every time I'm thinking about doing something and I'm not doing it. I'm just thinking, okay, if there was a gun to my head, would I do it? And I always say, well, yes, of course I would do it, or no, I wouldn't, because actually this is not important, I don't want to be doing this. So that like kind of really helps you put things into perspective, right? So trying versus doing, and then the reasons that you give for something are just all bullshit, really. So don't do this with other people, do it with yourself first, right? Every time you're seeing that you're not achieving something that you want, list the reasons, and then just be like, oh, these are all bullshit reasons, because gun to my head, I would have probably gotten it done. Another thing he looks at is the language that we use. He does ask some cool questions in this book. A question that stood out for me was, if you weren't afraid of failing, what would you do? Okay, so let me get the exact question for you. It was, what would you do differently if you weren't afraid of failing? So that's a very cool perspective, and a very good thought to just sit for like 15-20 minutes on something that you're looking at now, right? He also looks at saying like, I can't versus I won't. I won't is very empowering, because if you say I can't go to gym, it looks like there is a reason that you can't go to the gym, or you can't do something, right? It validates what you're already thinking. Versus if you say I won't, then it says that's like a perspective change. You say, well, actually I can, I just won't do it. Okay, so these kind of I can versus I won't, I have to versus I want to, those perspective shifts and change in language that you use for yourself are really empowering, and you should definitely get into catching yourself saying, oh, I can't do this, or I cannot do that, and replacing it with I will not do this, I will not do that, or I should do this, I shouldn't do that, I will do this, I won't do this, kind of thing, right? So there's a lot of good things from the book in that. I would definitely get the book just for that, just for the way that he reframes problems for you, okay? And that's what design thinking is. That's his whole course, is on how to reframe problems, right? So you reframe problems by looking at the language that you use. You reframe problems by looking at the excuses that you make or the reasons that you give, and always saying that's a good reason, right? So every time, like, oh, my friend was late the other day, and he was like, oh no, I needed to withdraw money from the ATM, and I was like, in my head I was just like, oh, that's a good reason. But I knew it was bullshit, because if he had to come there on time, he would have. He just didn't have a priority to do it, okay? So just start doing these things. A good takeaway from this book is that good reason. Every time you hear someone give you a reason, in your head just say, oh, that's a good reason. Meanwhile, you're knowing it's just bullshit, bro. Because that's what it really is. It's bullshit. Your reasons, your excuses, always bullshit. And that's very empowering. It kind of sucks at the beginning. You're thinking, doesn't sound great to like think this. But when you start to see how much power you actually have over and control that you have over things, then you can start to say, actually, I can do this, I can do that, I want to do this. And you start being very self-aware. And this book is really great with self-awareness. Like, you learn a lot about self-awareness from this book. I would definitely get it just for that. Guys, take a look at this book, have a read through it, leave some comments down below on what you think of the book, or what you think about this review. We'll carry on doing reviews every week, one book a week. I always either read a book a week or listen to a book a week, and I'll just be putting these book reviews out, and I'll get better and better at it, right? So like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, get this book, and let's get on it, guys.